The Israeli Navy has boarded a flotilla of boats sailing towards Gaza and is detaining the activists on board. Swedish political activist Greta Thunberg has just been detained. She is among 500 people, including 6 Australians, on the vessels carrying out humanitarian aid. Let's have a live look right now from on board some of the floats, which have all got live cameras which have been installed there. The Israeli Navy has issued a final call for the flotilla to change course before the interception.
Un autre bateau qui appartient à la flottille. Et là, tout ce que vous voyez en touche de petits bateaux, c'est les Zodiacs israéliens. Généralement, il y a un drone au-dessus qui fait la surveillance. Là, c'est une interception d'un de nos bateaux.
This is the Israeli Navy. You are approaching a blockaded zone. If you wish to deliver aid to Gaza, you may do so through the established channels. Please change your course toward the port of Ashdod, where the aid will undergo a security inspection and then be transferred into the Gaza Strip.
There was a high expectation that they would be stopped. At one stage, they had an escort from the Italian Navy, but the Italian Navy didn't escort them as they got very close to the Gaza shoreline, and the Italian Navy made it clear that it had never had any intention of engaging militarily against Israeli forces.
So what is the current status of getting additional aid to the people who need it in Gaza?
Well, this flotilla is not going to be one of those methods. Right now, everything is suspended at the moment. People are waiting to see Hamas's response to President Trump's peace initiative.
Okay, here we go. Stop already. Official Hamas documents that were discovered inside the Gaza Strip indicating a direct connection between the leaders of the Sumud Flotilla and the Hamas terrorist organization. It's important to point out that while Hamas in the Gaza Strip is responsible for what happens inside Gaza, the Palestinian Conference for Palestinians Abroad operates as Hamas's representative body outside the Gaza Strip under a civilian cover and in practice functions as Hamas embassies around the world. And amongst other things, it is responsible for mobilizing actions against Israel, including violent demonstrations, marches, and protests and flotillas. In 2021, the State of Israel designated the organization as a terrorist organization due to its being an arm of Hamas. The documents include a list of activists for the Palestinian Conference for Palestinians Abroad, or PCPA, a Hamas franchise funded in 2018. According to the Foreign Ministry, these findings prove that these ships are in fact owned by Hamas. And also, amongst the documentation that was released in 2021, a letter signed by the former head of Hamas's political bureau, Ismail Haniyeh. In the letter, Haniyeh explicitly gives his blessing to the PCPA and their chairman and calls for unity and publicly gives a blessing to this organization. Although there have been several problems and delays with this last Sumud Flotilla, it should be noted that unlike the selfie yacht that was almost effortless intercepted by the IDF in early June, this time there are at least 52 boats headed towards the Gaza beach. Stopping all of them will be a challenge, and the potential of engagement and concern over loss of control is even greater. So, to this end, a special task force has been established with the participation of the IDF, the Shin Bet, the police, and the Foreign Ministry, which will accompany the handling from a special command room. The plan is for the activists to be brought to Israel's shores, where they will be arrested and deported from the country as soon as possible. Those who refuse will be held in detention. And the IDF has conveyed messages to the flotilla's leaders, including again the climate activist Greta Thunberg, that they will not be allowed to reach the shores of the Gaza Strip. And the IDF clarified that if they nonetheless wish to transfer humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip, they can dock at the ports of Israel in Ashdod, upload the cargo there, and Israel will transfer it. Although this sensible conclusion to the situation has also been previously rejected by the flotilla organizers, who obviously want to provoke an incident at sea so that they can post videos about it in their social media platforms, and that all of them really care about is more views. As it may, hospitals have been instructed to reinforce staff in case the pro-Palestinian activists require medical treatment. The IDF is preparing for several scenarios, not only for active handling, but the overall goal is to avoid escalation and violence so as not to cause any diplomatic problems or embarrassments. I agree, I will let Israel do what it needs to do. They can do it quite easily. Noted that since the beginning of the war, about 25,000 of Hamas were eliminated, including their leaders. They paid a heavy price. If this deal happens, it will be one of the greatest things that has ever happened. Peace. Focus to the Sumud Flotilla, which includes dozens of small and medium-sized boats carrying hundreds of pro-Palestinian activists on the way to the coast of Gaza, ostensibly to deliver a symbolic amount of humanitarian aid, but really, it's just a big publicity stunt and an attempt at virtue signaling. The leaders of this flotilla love to talk about how they had to take matters into their own hands after governments failed to deliver aid to the Gaza Strip, but that is a blatant lie. And earlier this week, the Italian government, along with the Vatican, urged the flotilla and their organizers to allow the aid that they were bringing to the Gaza Strip to be offloaded in Cyprus so that it can be sent into the Gaza Strip to the usual channels. This idea was rejected by the flotilla organizers, which makes it very obvious that delivering aid to the people of Gaza who need it is not the real objective here. And with that in mind, this week, the Foreign Ministry published